pray. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, my Father, we give you thanks and praise for this day. We ask you to just break open our hearts, our minds, our souls. Recognize that we truly, deeply desire you. We want to become more like you. We recognize that you are the only one who can truly enliven us, the only one who can truly love us perfectly. And so in this time together, Father, we ask that you allow us to receive your word. Let that word be deeply planted inside of us. And let it grow. Let it come into fruition. So we can become another Christ, go into this world, evangelize and transform our families, our friends, our loved ones, and be ushered into heaven, into eternal paradise. We ask this all through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. And today for the talk, we're very excited to be back here with all of you. This is a great community. Honestly, you guys have been already amazing. And so great to see the community meal beforehand and talks here. And we'll do another about 45-minute hour talk. Hallie will go first, and I'll talk after her, and then there'll be confessions tonight. And then again, like last night, after the talk and confessions around 8:30 when everything wraps up, both myself and Hallie will be coming back to say hi to people who want to talk or confessions. Or just want to say hello. Please stop by and say hi to us.
Hey, can you hear me? Is that too loud? No, good? All right. So, I'll be back with you guys. Yesterday, after the talk, a bunch of you came up to me and asked me how Father Manno and I met. That's kind of a fun story, so I thought I'd start out by telling you about that. So for those of you who don't know, he made the most amazing video, carpool karaoke video, that's on YouTube. This is crazy. It has over 600,000 views. He even got Bishop Malloy on board. So he and Father Ronke and Bishop Malloy did this whole carpool karaoke thing. It was amazing. So I'm sitting in my house one night, scrolling through Facebook, as I want to do, and I see this video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these priests are awesome. So I start texting my producer at SiriusXM, and I'm like, I don't know who we have on the schedule tomorrow, but I want that guy on the show. And I go on Facebook, I'm typing, and I'm like, I only have one thing left on my bucket list. I want to be friends with these priests. Which I dream big dreams, guys, because God is listening. So he comes on the show. It's amazing. We have a great interview. He comes back like 2 or 3 times. We start to become friends. And then, as I mentioned last night, I host a women's conference called the Adele Gathering. And I remember before the Adele Gathering, I was under such intense spiritual attack. And I texted him and I said, you know, pray for me, Father, I'm under all this spiritual attack, everything that you can possibly imagine is going wrong. And he said he would pray. And then I get to Adele, and this wonderful, sweet woman named Kathleen walks up to me, and she hands me an envelope, and it's from Father Manno. He wrote this, like, note with these encouraging words, and he included all of these, like, little crucifixes that were blessed by Pope Benedict. And I was like, my gosh, he's so nice! I'm on the airplane flying home, and I'm hugely pregnant with my youngest daughter, Penelope, who's now almost 10 months old. And it just strikes me, God wants Father Manno to be the godfather, which is kind of crazy because I've never met him. My husband had never met him. So I get off the airplane and I go home. It's like midnight. My husband's sleeping, and I'm like, wake up, God told me something. I know what the godfather's supposed to be. It's this priest you don't know. God told me when I was up in the air and I was really close to him. And my husband, I think he probably just wanted to go back to sleep. He was like, okay, fine. But then I had to call him up. Do you know how weird that was? Like, we've never actually had a phone call. And so I'm dialing the phone. And actually, I think it went to voicemail when he called me back. He's probably been like, why is this crazy woman calling me? And so it's worse than he thought. He probably thought I was calling to ask a spiritual question or ask for an interview. And I'm like, hi, Father Manno. I'm pregnant. Do you want to be the godfather? But he said yes, because I guess he's crazy too. And so you want to know how we became friends, and we're both insane. But anyway, he said yes. And then not only did he say yes, but he actually flew from Chicago to Charleston and actually came into our house. Like, who knows what he was gonna find? Like, that's super brave. I have 8 kids, like, obviously we're lunatics. But he came, and like, he drove up and all my kids were outside, like, waiting to meet him. And it was the most extraordinary experience of God just showing up and doing something really special in our lives. Because the minute he walked through that door, it felt like we had known him forever. You know, it felt like he was a part of the family. And that continues to this day. In fact, a couple weeks ago at Mass, my little 8-year-old girl, Hallie, was like making these faces, you know, over there. I'm like, what is she looking at? And there was this little boy who was kind of giving her the eye and winking at her. And like, we get out of Mass, and I'm like, so Hallie, there's something going on in there. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. She walks a few steps. She says, don't tell Father Manno. I said, why? She walks a few more steps and she says, because we don't know what he might do. So of course I told him. Well, what I love about that story is that it hits on the 2 themes that we talked about last night and that we're talking about tonight. So last night we talked about discernment. I was up in an airplane and I discerned that Father Manno should be the godparent. Maybe you don't want to listen to anything I said last night, knowing that I do crazy things like that. And then it touches on spiritual attacks. And I was like getting ready to go to Adele, and all these terrible things were happening. Like one bad thing happened after another. And I remember talking to my friend Jennifer Fuller, who runs the conference with me, and she's like, Hallie, God's favor has come upon this conference. Like, that's how deeply under spiritual attack we were. Like, we could not feel God anywhere. Like, it just felt like he had abandoned us. He's like, you're crazy, you made the wrong decision. Like, you're on your own, best of luck. But anyway, that was one of those moments of spiritual attack where I was so blinded by this attack that I was under that I almost couldn't find God. And yet I had these tools that I had been given by this wonderful priest that I met years and years ago that kind of pulled me out of it. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And I will start by telling you about this encounter with this priest. So I was a new Catholic, and spiritual attack was never something I struggled with, which people find kind of crazy. They're like, you weren't Christian growing up, you didn't know about Catholics, like I couldn't have told you the difference between Catholicism and Protestantism, I've never read a Bible. And then all these people who were I was converting came up to me and are like, do you know about the Eucharist? Like, we really believe it turns into the body and blood. Are you okay with that? Yeah, it's fine. And then someone was like, you know that story people tell about how like there's the devil on one shoulder and like the angel, like it's not an angel, it's God, but they're like both gonna be talking to you. That's kind of real too. And everyone was waiting for me to like run in the opposite direction. I was like, I grew up in Northern California. My parents were hippies. Like, this is nothing. You should have seen my childhood. Like, there's some really bizarre stuff that happens in that world. But so I was a new Catholic, and I went to confession. I was talking to this priest, and I said, like, I really want to do God's will, but I'm not sure if I'm hearing his voice. You know, like, sometimes I think it's his voice, and sometimes it seems like maybe it's not his voice, and like, I can't tell. And the priest was like, how often do you talk to him? I'm like, God? He's like, yeah, how often do you talk to him? I was like, well, I've got all these kids. Like, I can't really go to adoration a lot, and they're always yelling, and it's kind of hard to find time for prayer. And he's like, okay, no, I get that. Like, you're in a really intense season. I just want you to talk to him. Like, talk to him about what you're making for dinner. Talk to him about the struggles you're having. Talk to him when you're folding laundry. Talk to him when you wake up. He said, just as in like real earthly life, if you want to know what someone sounds like, you have to have a conversation with them. Like, we haven't talked yet, I don't know what your voice sounds like. That's the same with God. We've got to talk to him. He said, I just want you to start talking to him. I'm not going to ask you to do anything else. Just start talking to him. So I started talking to God, and I felt kind of insane, but I kept at it. And I would talk to him as I went through my days, and I still wasn't sure that I was hearing his voice, but I would just say, like, gosh, I don't know, should I make lasagna for dinner, or should I make soup? Like, why did you create mosquitoes? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's like a really questionable decision there. Like, I don't really see any purpose to that. So we would just have these conversations, but I still was kind of like, I don't know if I'm hearing his voice. And then one day, I was having this super tough morning. Like, my kids were like fighting, and the baby peed on the ground, and I hadn't slept, and like everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. And there was something that, like, some straw that broke the camel's back, and I, being a super holy woman, turned to God and I was like, "You are sucking the life out of me." And in an instant, God was like, "No, I'm sucking the death out of you, and into you I'm pouring my love." And I was like, "I didn't come up with that. That's not Hallie talking there." And I knew for the first time that I was hearing God's voice. And I went back to the priest, and I was like, "Oh, I heard God talk to me." That was amazing. And he's like, "But it gets better, because now that you know what God's voice sounds like, you know when you're hearing someone talk to you, spirit, a devil, the demons, Satan, but it's not God. Because you know now what his voice sounds like." He says, "Hallie, yes, God sometimes chastises you. Yes, sometimes he tells you that you're really screwing up. You're on the wrong path. He wants you to make changes. He's challenging you to something greater. But he's always going to do it in love. His voice is encouraging, even when he's chastising you. He expresses it in loving, hopeful ways. And now that you know what that voice sounds like, you know that the other voices that tell you that you're no good, that there's no hope for you, that nobody loves you, that you should give up, that God has given up on you, you know that's not God. God would never speak to you in that way. He would never demean you in that way." So he said, keep talking to God, keep listening, pay attention to the tone, pay attention to the messages. So I did, and I got better acquainted with God's voice, and I started to recognize when I was under spiritual attack, when I was hearing demeaning voices, cruel, unkind, discouraging voices. So I went back again, and I said, "I feel like I'm getting a handle on this. I feel like I can discern between when it's God's voice and when I'm under spiritual attack. So what am I supposed to do when I realize that I'm under spiritual attack?" Because just because you know that you're under spiritual attack doesn't mean that you know how to handle it, that you know how to diffuse it, that you know how to destroy those lies. So he gave me 2 tips, just 2 simple things that I do now that have utterly changed my life and have brought so much peace into my life. And those 2 things were, you always need to bring your fears into the light, and you need to pour as much love into situations as you can to force out all the fear and all the darkness. So I'll tell you a little story about bringing your fears into the light. So the thing about spiritual attack is that even when you know you're under, even when you know that you're being attacked, even when you know you're being lied to, the devil can communicate in really compelling ways. Even if, like, on paper it seems absurd, he has these ways of communicating that make you feel very scared and anxious, and you start questioning everything you know. Is this real? Have I discerned correctly? Where is God in all of this? And so, kind of a very extreme example is, as I mentioned, my youngest daughter is almost 10 months. And when I was in my 3rd trimester, I went in to the OB/GYN to get my checkup. You know, they put the wand on my stomach and started to look for a heartbeat. So, like, she was super big by then. I was super big by then. And the doctor's looking and she says, "I can't find the heartbeat." And I start to freak out because prior to conceiving Penelope, I had miscarried a daughter named Clementine. And even though you know, if you're a woman who's had a miscarriage, that it's not your fault, that you couldn't have stopped it, you still have this feeling that you had been given the most precious gift in the world, and though you didn't mean to, you were the one who dropped it. And so I went through this pregnancy with my Penelope, feeling kind of scared and afraid something would happen. And the devil wants to steal our joy. He wants to hurt us. That's all he desires, is our destruction and our pain. So all throughout the pregnancy, he would look for opportunities to attack me. So I was in that doctor's office, and the doctor said, "I can't find her heartbeat." So here's the crazy part. I could feel her moving. I could feel her kicking. And yet, because I was in this vulnerable state, maybe she's dead and still kicking. Like maybe that's a thing that happens. But I remembered what that priest had said about bringing your fears out into the light and how he had told me that if you keep them inside of you, they will fester and they will grow and they'll eat away at you. He said, bring everything onto the light. So I turned to the doctor and I was like, I know that I sound crazy right now. I know you see her moving. I feel her moving. But I just need you to know that I'm super scared right now. You can't find her heartbeat. She's this big baby. I don't know why you can't find her heartbeat. Like, is my baby okay? And she kind of laughed in a very loving way. And she said, yeah, my doctor's broken. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was one of those moments where, as absurd as it sounds for me to be sitting there, this is my 9th child, including Clementine. I know about pregnancy. I know how babies work. But even though I could feel her moving, I was so scared, and the devil took that opportunity to attack me. And it took her, like, she went to go get an ultrasound machine. She was gone for like 20 minutes. And if I had not said something to her in that moment, which takes courage sometimes, if I had not said, I know this sounds crazy, but this is my fear, she couldn't have diffused that for me. And I would have sat there for those 20 or 30 minutes. You know how long you have to wait in those waiting rooms. Feeling utterly paralyzed by fear and anxiety. So whenever you feel like you're under spiritual attack, even if you think you're going to sound crazy, it's okay, we're all crazy. Find someone, a spouse, a friend, a spiritual director, I don't know, a doctor, a total stranger. And just bring those fears out into the light. Not only will they help you diffuse them and like make you say like you're crazy, but if your fear is something that's legitimate and you have a legitimate cross to carry, you will give them the privilege and honor of helping you carry that cross, and they will help you carry that burden. That's an incredible gift. Like, we're built for community. We're built to help each other. So don't be afraid to do that. And the second thing he said was pour in so much love into any situation that you force out all the fear. I'm going to tell you a little story about the Sisters of Life. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're up in New York City. Well, they're growing now. They started in New York City, and they, of all of the religious sisters I've met, they glow, like they literally like glow. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. They walk through New York City with their beautiful blue habits, and they just exude love and joy. So I was in New York City, I was doing my radio show, and Sister Bethany Madonna was my guest, and she came on the show and she was talking about the work they do with women in crisis pregnancies. They have maternity homes. And I said to her, okay, when a woman comes to you, and she's pregnant and she's scared. Maybe she's been kicked out of her house, or her boyfriend has abandoned her, maybe she has no one, she has no money. What is the first thing you do when they show up? She kind of laughed and she said, I love this question because this is one of my favorite parts of our ministry. She said, we sit down with them in our kitchen and we make them eggs. I thought, well, that's nice. Pregnant women are hungry. I'm like super hungry when I'm pregnant. That's a really good thing to do. She had a laugh and she was like, no, yes, they're hungry. She said, but what we want to do is we want to make them feel loved. She said they come into that house and they see us and they're used to either people telling them that they're a failure, that they've done something terrible, that there's no hope for them, that they need to abort their baby. They don't know where to turn, they don't know how to handle the situation, they're scared. They're hearing all these negative voices, and we just want to be a voice of love. We don't want to immediately start telling them how they're going to fix this and what they need to do. So we just want to make them feel love. We want to make them feel God's love. So we sit in that kitchen, and we feed them eggs, and we give them orange juice, and we laugh with them, and we ask them about themselves. And she said, we do that until we can sense that there is so much love in that room that all of the fear has been forced out. Because light and darkness cannot coexist. Love and fear cannot coexist. So the more love and light you pour into a place, the more you will force that fear and that darkness out. So we keep at it until we sense that God's love is just flooding that room. And then we turn to that woman and say, now let's talk about how we can help you. And at that point, her defenses are down, she feels loved, and that's when we can begin doing our work. I remember that, not only that story, but that advice from the priest ever since. Whenever you feel like you're under spiritual attack, you're fighting with your spouse, you're scared about your children, you've lost your job and don't know how to tell your family, you're out of money, you can't buy groceries. There's another story. I remember once we were in a really, really bad financial spot, and I was so scared, I was so paralyzed back here. And I remember what he said. Just pour love into the situation. So I got like a 50-cent box of Jell-O, and I got out my best china, and I made the Jell-O, and we had this wonderful little tea party with my girls. And in that moment, there was so much love that I forgot to be afraid. You know? So whenever you're in a situation where you're scared, you feel like you're under attack, find ways to pour love in, and you will feel all of that fear and that anxiety and those lies start to dissipate. The last thing I'll leave you with, before I hand this over to Father, is there's actually some really good news. Because if you are under spiritual attack, it means that God is doing something awesome in your life. Because the devil doesn't care about messing with you if you're doing what he wants you to do. So when you feel that spiritual attack start up, you can know that whether God's doing something amazing internally, he's refining you by fire and pouring new life into you, or maybe he's going to allow you to touch someone's life, or he's going to give you some amazing opportunity, and you're going to be able to set the world on fire, that's when the devil attacks. So it's not always easy, but I've gotten to the point now where when I started to feel spiritual attack, like before our conference, everything was going wrong. I was hearing all these lies that I thought, oh, you know what this means? This means something super awesome is about to happen. And it doesn't mean that I enjoy the spiritual attack, but it helps me to get through it, to remember that the devil would not be messing with me if God wasn't doing something amazing. So remember that. Now I'll let Father take over.
So, the reason this is so important, what spiritual attack is because the whole goal of Christianity is to become more like Jesus Christ. And we often forget that there is somebody opposing us to destroy that desire that God has for us. Right? We often forget that. And before I get into a few points on kind of reiterating what Hallie said and just giving a few last-minute tips, I want to also share a little part of when I first went to their house. I had met the whole Lord family. By the way, I discovered Hallie Lord through the radio. And so I was like, Lord must be like a stage name. That sounds like a stage name. Her name is actually Hallie Lord, right? It's amazing. And so I've been on her show, and we'd only spoken in total about an hour, 2.5 hours prior to her asking me to be the godparent of her child. And that 2.5 hours was on the radio. So we had actually never spoken on the phone without people listening around the country. And so that what she called it sounds very strange, she's like, going to the godfather of my house. And so I knew I was going to go and meet these people I'd never met before in my life. And even my brother was like, you're going to meet people you've never met and become the godfather for one of their children? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I have their name and address? Because this sounds strange, and I'll make sure you get back safely. Alright, let's do fine. And so I planned that. I usually had 8 children. This must be a very vibrant house. And so I got this shirt made, and it had a picture of Penelope on my shirt. And it said Godfather Manno. And so I arrived, even though it was 80 degrees in Charleston, I wore this jacket, and I walked in the door, hey everybody, and then I revealed the t-shirt, of my clerks, and this Godfather Manno, and all the kids freaked out. And so, it was just very graceful to be in a home with so many loving children, especially. I mean, that much, just family life around was a huge blessing. And so, when I left that first time and we continued to get to know our family and our children, really discovered that the more we're surrounded by life-giving events, the more we receive love. And the more any lies that are trying to fester inside of us, they do dissipate. And so I want to share this little story that I experienced when I was actually a deacon. A very real-life experience of encountering somebody who was truly experiencing and believing lies, and then really getting to see the lies driven out in front of my very eyes. And what it was I was a deacon, I was probably probably about 2 months from ordination, and I was at a steakhouse with my buddy and his fiance. And I was not in my priest clothes. I was just a transitional deacon, so they told me if I go out in public, just to wear my casual clothes at the restaurants. And so I'm in casual clothes, it's me, my buddy, his fiance. And we're having our steak dinner or whatever. And there's a nice waitress serving the dinner the entire time. And I like to talk to people. I think I do, talk to people. And so at the end of the meal, I had been so consumed with talking to my buddy that I had not seen in a while, getting to know his fiance that I just met, that at the end of the meal, the lady comes over and I said, "Ma'am, what is your name? Tell me your name. You've been serving us for an hour. I don't even know your name." And we'll call her Judy. So she says, "My name is Judy." "Hi, Judy. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you." I said, "My name's Kyle." I was deacon at the time, and I introduced myself as Deacon Kyle. "I'm Kyle." She goes, "Nice to meet you." She had an accent. I said, "Judy, you have an accent. Where are you from? Where were you born?" She says, "Well, I was born in Greece." "Nice, Greece. Okay, all right, Greece." I said, "Now, how long have you been here in the States?" She says, "I've been here 15 years." I said, "Great, okay. So you're from Greece, you moved here 15 years ago." I said, "Well, that's kind of a big decision to leave your homeland." And so, quick question, for some reason the next question was, what's better? I said, "If you moved here from Greece, what's better? I mean, why'd you pick it? And what's better, Greece or America? What's better?" And as I kind of asked the question, I get the words left my mouth, it's like a really strange question. What's better, Greece or America? But the words left my mouth, they already gone, so I couldn't take it back. And she thinks for a second, and she goes, "America." "Okay. Why is America better than Greece?" And she says, "Well, America is great because people aren't judgmental." I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, okay. Well, tell me why. Okay, well, yeah, tell me how they're not judgmental." She said, "Well, in Greece, she said people judged me a lot. She said if I would wear like my earrings and my bracelets and my anklets and my belly belt." It's like a fad like 15 years ago. I don't know, it's called a belly belt now. And so she's like, I wear my earrings and my bracelets and my anklets and my belly belt. People will call me names. And I was like, "What?" She said, "Yes, people will call me names. They'll call me a prostitute." And I was like, "Oh, okay." The conversation changed very quickly. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she walked away. That was a strange conversation. Okay. I don't know what to do right now. So she came back and she goes, "Yeah, but I've got some complaints about America too." I'm like, "Okay, what's your complaints?" She said, "Well, this is a big problem in America." I said, "Sure, what is it?" She said, "The problem is that in America, nobody learns anything anymore." I was like, "What?" She said, "Nobody learns anything in America anymore. They're all too busy on their iPhones and their tablets. Nobody learned anything." No one's learning. I just sat there, and for some reason, the next response out of my mouth, which seemed strange, was, "I learned things." She kind of looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah, I learned things." She said, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I just got a master's degree." I said, "I just graduated 2 weeks ago. I've got a master's degree. I'm an American." I said, "I learned things." And she goes, "What are you going to do with it? With your degree?" I was like, "Excuse me, I don't know you very well. You're a little snippy, man." I didn't say that. I said, "Well, I'm actually going to be a priest." She looks at me. And she goes, "No, you're not." I was like, "No, yeah, I really am. I'm going to be a priest." And again, she looks at me. She goes, "No, you're not going to be a priest." And I was like, "What?" Who jokes about that? Who jokes and says they're going to be a priest and they're not going to be? She goes, "No, you're not going to be a priest." And she walks away. And I was like, "Okay." So I went to my phone, and I went to Facebook, and I pulled this picture of me in a cap and gown, and I wear my collar, that's my graduation, and I have my degree in my hand. She came back over, I was like, look, this is a picture of me. I have a degree. I'm wearing a cap and gown. I'm in a Roman collar. I'm going to be a priest. Like in 2 months. She goes, oh, you're not going to be a priest. Yeah. Just said that 7 times. You're not going to be a priest. And she goes, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, you can ask me whatever you want. She says, you gonna be one of those priests? You be one of those priests? She won't finish her sentence. I said, you can ask me whatever you want. Hey, anything you want to ask me, you're not going to offend me. She says, are you going to be one of those priests who, if somebody does something wrong, you're going to kick them out? You're going to tell them to leave. They can't be in church. I said, what? No. I said, no, I would be the opposite. I said, I would tell them to come back, to enter the church, to go to confession, and have their sins forgiven, and show them that God just desires and loves them. I would know. And I'm mad. She goes, okay, okay. It's just, she said, things are really hard for me. She said, I'm confused. I've been waiting for a while. And the next thing she said, for some reason, she said, I don't know, you said this thing about me that people said I just had this aura and they met me and I was so alive, but I really feel it's gone. I want to have that. I said, well, you know God really loves you. She goes, I know He loves me, and I know He loves me. He's with me wherever I go. He loves me. To know, like, God really loves you. I was like, really loves you? Like, the type of love, like, kind of roller coaster, like, you're strapped in, like, you're kind of nervous, and like, that was bad, and then you, like, dive in on your stomach, like, your mouth, you know, that type of love. God, I really love you. Because I know He loves me, I don't feel it. She said, you know, I haven't even, like, cried in years. This is all happening, like, right at the table. She said, I haven't cried in years. I said, you know, that's sad. I said, well, I'm going to be a priest in 2 months. I said, you should go visit me. I said, we'll cry fast. We'll cry together. And she goes, yeah, I haven't cried, and I don't feel things anymore. I don't feel, and she says, in my heart is, and I looked at her and I said, is your heart numb? She goes, yeah. My heart's really numb. I just don't feel anything. And she started to tear up. And there's this moment from the Holy Spirit all of a sudden where I didn't know anything about her except for her name, where she was from, but I had this sense that she was divorced and had a couple kids, and that she'd been really wounded. So I was like sensing the Holy Spirit. So I said, ma'am, I think what the problem is a lot of people, specifically like men, have like loved you, and then after they loved you, they hurt you. I said, so you got a lot of bad love. I said, but there's this passage in the scripture that talks about God wants to take out our stony hearts and give us new hearts. I said, and you just received a lot of bad love, but there's this guy out there, Jesus, like, He wants to give you good love. I was like, He's not going to hurt you. He's not going to harm you. He's just going to pour like love into you. And you can trust Him. And I said, He wants to give you this new heart. He wants to take out that heart that you don't feel anything with anymore. He wants to breathe new life into you. You just need some good love. That's what you need. Now she's crying. I said, you know what, Julie? I said, I'm gonna be a priest in 2 months. I said, I'm getting ordained on June 3rd. I said, my first Mass is on June 4th. It's in this town called Crystal Lake. I said, it's 45 minutes from here. So you need to go to that Mass. So you need to go on June 4th. exchanged information. I got her Facebook and her contact info, I remember. And as we were leaving, I said, June 4th, 11 a.m., Crystal Lake, St. Clair's Lake Bus. And as I was walking out, I felt the Holy Spirit moving more. And when I went back, I found her. She was like waving at some people. I was like, after she was done, I was like, hey, I said, can I give you a blessing right now? She said, yeah. So in the middle of like this char house, we were eating their steaks and like in casual clothes and praying over. And so I left that day, and I sent her the information, like June 4th, Crystal Lake, St. Thomas the Apostle, 11 a.m. And that was it. I wasn't going to bother her much after that. And so June 4th came, I got her date on June 4th, and my first mass was June 5th. And so I got, it was my first mass, I'm sitting up there presiding, first day being a priest. And I'm wondering, did Judy come back? Where is she? So I'm sitting down. The church was packed, right? 800 people there. I didn't see her, and I'm preaching, and I'm like, and so now, like, after I done preached, it was kind of a blur, actually. I was like, why is she not here? That kind of stuff. And I was giving out communion, and I was and then the last person to come up for communion was this lady. This beautiful black dress she came out. I gave her communion. And then Mass ended, and I greet people. I give out blessings for 4 hours. If you've ever gone to a first Mass, like, the priest just hangs out for 4 hours and blesses people. And so I didn't see her afterwards. That was it. I met her that one time at like the char house, and then she showed up at Mass, and that was it. Didn't hear her. And it kind of just went away. Like 5 or 6 months had passed. And I brought the spiritual direction back at the seminary. My spiritual director was. And he had asked me, do you want to go get dinner afterwards? So we went to dinner, and I forgot. It wasn't on my radar. Judy ain't wanted in 6 months. And so we're walking in the char house, and I remember my priest clothes, and I'm like, walking, I see Judy. And I'm like, hey, good to see you. And she come over, she said, Father, you're a new priest clothes. I'm a real priest now. And she's like, I have to tell you, that I think about that good love every day. She said, every day I think about that good love you told me that God wants to give me. And she said, I went to your first Mass. She said, I couldn't stay afterwards, but God did something. She said, he did something inside me. I'm a different person. She said, something's changed inside me. And I think about that every day. And it was awesome. She kind of waited on us. I was waiting, I got to give her a hug, and I give her a blessing. The reason I share that is because for her entire life, it seemed like, at least for many years, she had just received bad love. So now she was accepting this lie that there is nobody out there that can love her well. So much so that she closed her heart so much that she closed every single door where she couldn't even feel things. Right? If you close the doors of your house, right, you feel things. If you lock the doors, you close the windows, you might not even know it's raining down. If you shut all the windows, close all the doors, you don't know what's going on outside. And if we close the doors of our hearts enough, and accept enough lies, we have no idea what's going on outside of us. And we almost become incapable of receiving love anymore. And we become so much into despair that we almost start believing that lie. That even God won't love me. That I'm even incapable of receiving His love. I'm not good enough for that. We look out in the world, right? Everyone else looks like their life's put together. And then God, I just forgot about me. And all it took was some of the Holy Spirit and like a 10-minute conversation with this woman for lives to be destroyed. And it was the most fascinating thing when I was telling her, like, it's this guy who wants to love you, like, actually love you perfectly, not God, don't you? I mean, you should have seen her, she was like leaning in towards me, like, yeah, tell me, man, who is this person, right? Actually not hurt me. So it doesn't take long for lives to be destroyed if we talk to them, talk to God about them. We have to recognize that too many of us have been hurt. We've received bad love. But God wants to undo that and give us good And so we're in a place in our lives where maybe we're at a difficult place in our marriage, and our spouse is giving us a lot of bad love at times. Right? They're not being the best wife. Well, at that moment, you have to go to God, who is the divine spouse, and ask Him for that perfect love. Because your spouse is imperfect. And so they are, at times, going to hurt you. But God is a perfect spouse. If you have a difficult relationship with your mother or your father, you're like, my mom is not good at loving me. She's really bad at it. Then I never get my love. I haven't spoken to my mom in 10 years. Could be that bad. Well, you have to go to God. You say, God, I need my love. I need it. If you've lost your dad, if he's deceased, he's dead. God did not desire you to never have dad love again. You have to go to God, who is Father, ask Him for that love. Okay, I'll give you an example. My father was asleep in heaven. He died a couple years ago in 2013. After being sick for a very long time. He was in the hospital for like 2 years, long story short. And for those 2 years in the hospital, he was essentially paralyzed. He couldn't move or speak. And many graces came through his death, and he died. I remember going to the chapel a couple weeks later, and I said, God, this isn't fair. See, I'm like 23, or 26 at the time I was living in dad. Do I not get dad love ever again? Is that how this works? And I kept going to chapel, I kept kind of believing that. I guess I don't. Right? That person is dead, that person is dead, that person is dead. I guess they all get that dad love, and I don't get it. That's a lie. And so then I said to God, like, well, you claim you can do all things. Nothing's impossible for you. So I need a lot of dad love. You need to give it to me right now. He said, I want it now. And I was like, I'm not going to leave this chapel until you give it to me. And we have to be honest with God. You have a desire, right? Be like a kid, right? Kids, like, they like their Christmas list, and they're like, I want all this stuff. And this, give it all, right? And that's because our children know that if they have a desire, we're going to do our best, right, for a parent to give that to them, to love them. It's a good, holy desire. So I said, God, I'm not going to leave this chapel. So God was like, fine. Think of a moment when you felt very loved and when you felt dad love. So God runs a moment. Basically, dad love. And this image came back to my mind. It was my last birthday with my father. And it was 2 weeks before he got sick, 2 weeks before he became paralyzed. And we had gone to dinner for my birthday. So we celebrated my birthday. This awesome Italian place, and my family's Italian. Dad loves Italian food. And my grandpa literally ate pasta every day for breakfast. And so we went to this Italian place, and on the way out, my parents dropped me off in a seminary. It's called Manno Seminary. And as we got out of the car, I was walking to my dorm, and my dad rolled out the window. He goes, hey, Kyle! Hey, Kyle! He screams Italian. And I was like, yeah, Dad, what's up? He goes, hey, when are we going to see you again? I was like, what? He's like, I miss you already. He's like, when am I going to see you again? I was like, Dad, we just spent 4 hours together. I was like, you live 20 minutes away. I was like, Dad, I can see you tomorrow if you want. I can talk to you on the phone in 2 minutes. He goes, I know. I just want to see you again. I miss you already. I was like, Dad, I'll see you soon. I walked away. Now, so in the chapel, I was going back to that moment. I was like, really? And all of a sudden, I felt that. It's almost like I felt it again. I was experiencing that dad love. And we all know this. Like, you get a picture of, like, right, like a family vacation. You can almost feel like you're there again. You got a picture of someone you lost, right? You're deceased. You can almost feel the love again. So I was in the chapel. I was experiencing this dad love again. And as I was experiencing it, I said, oh, God, Dad, right there. Give me more of that. Give me that love. And he did. He increased it. And he increased it. He increased it. I was sitting like, oh, I feel chosen by God. I feel loved by Dad. And so we're called to do is reject those lies. I believe the lie for a while. I just don't get that one. But once I went to the scripture, I was like, no, you said you could do anything. So I want this. And I was honest with God. I told him what I needed. He then provided. And so if you've lost somebody, if you're in a difficult relationship, and that person can't provide for you because they can't in the moment because of their own stuff going on, or because they're not there anymore, you have to go directly to God and receive that love. Your spouse can't heal you. God can. Your mother can't heal you. God can. Your father, your children, none of them can heal you, right? We all know. We can all agree on one thing. We're all in a sinking ship. And we all want somebody else around us to save us. They can't. You can't even save yourself. Only Jesus can do that. The only way that begins is by destroying the lies that we heard. Brutal honesty with them. And asking them for anything. This all comes down to communication. And I end on this little point that Hallie spoke on, and I want to reiterate. Give you one tool to walk away that she's well spoke about. And it's how to open up that communication. How to get to that point to be like, I'm not going to leave this chapel until you just love me. And it came through Hallie actually when I was in college, at the place I'm at now as a priest. I just had a reversion back to the faith, and I've really been praying a lot about like, how do I radically live out this Christian life. I'm sick of being like half in. I was having the conversion, but I still the old friends, and so like I would go out on the weekends, right, and do stupid things with them, and then I would go to the Mass on Sunday, and I'd be like, I love Jesus, things like that. On Friday, do stupid things, and Mass, and I'd go to Mass on Sunday, I love Jesus. And it was totally like two lives. Right, like, sin on Friday and Saturday, go to Mass, and it's awesome, right? I love Jesus. And I was sick and tired of living two lives. I didn't want it anymore. It was miserable. And so I said, okay, God, like, how do I do this? How do I actually become authentic? Actually be one person. So I was making that prayer. About a week or two afterwards, I was at Mass, and the priest was giving me a helmet. He's like, we desire to be authentic Christians. He's like, you want to be an authentic Christian? He's like, I'm going to give you one tip. How to be an authentic Christian. One thing to do every single day. He's like, I was praying about this. All right, like, tell me what this is. And he goes, throughout your day, just bring Christ with you everywhere you go. Which is amazing that priest told me, right, you're like, Chicagoland, bring Jesus everywhere you go, like, where Hallie was, the priest also gave the same recommendation. He's like, wherever you go, bring Jesus with you. He said, I am the priest. He's like, I work here at the parish, but I'm also in the diocesan office. I drive 45 minutes every day. He says, so I get in the car, I clean out the stuff, and I move all the papers, and I put them in the bag, and I say, Jesus, that's you. You're in the car now. He said, that way when we're driving, he said, if someone cuts me off, give him a hand, say, God bless you. He's like, right, I have a moment of conversion. I actually think about my action before I perform it. He's like, and I give them a blessing, so don't let that anger control me. He said, then I go to the chancery and I work in the bishop's office, and when I'm frustrated with somebody, I imagine Christ there, and I'm a little more gentle with them. He said, and I get up and I eat my dinner, I imagine Christ with me. So we're eating dinner. He said, do this every day. Just bring Christ with you everywhere you go. I was like, alright. That seems pretty simple. I can start doing that. And so I did. I did that thing. I got in the car, I moved the stuff, opened the scene. Alright, Jesus, where are we going? Alright, let's go somewhere. We were driving, talking to Jesus. And I would get to my townhouse, I'd be walking in, and I would imagine Christ, like literally walking next to me. Alright. We're going inside, Lisa and I have friends, what are we going to do? And Friday would come about, what am I going to do? Now imagine Christ like that. I don't know where I went to talk to him. And then one day, I'm at Chipotle, which I love Chipotle. And I'm eating dinner with my friends. It's about 8 of us. We were all Chipotle on this big table. We're eating dinner as guys and girls, and one of my buddies made us a joke. And it was extremely inappropriate. I don't even remember the joke. I just know it was extremely inappropriate. And we were all laughing. Everyone was laughing. The guys and girls were all laughing at this joke. It was really inappropriate. And as I'm recently felt shame. I felt shame. Shame is a good thing. Tell us where it was like that. And all of a sudden I thought, gosh, if he was really in that chair, would I be sitting there with these people? Would I have laughed at that joke? What would I have done? What would he do? Would he have laughed? Definitely not. Would he have said something? What would he say? Would he get a meaning? What would he do? I didn't know exactly what he would have done, but I at least knew he wouldn't have laughed. So I felt ashamed, and I left Chipotle that day, and I got in the car. Jesus was still sitting there, right? And I just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to. So I have to decide today if I'm going to keep hanging out with these people who aren't making me into a saint. We're actually kind of reiterating the lies, right? The lie that like, these choices are going to make me happy. They're not going to. So I said to God, and known as I was driving, I said, God, I'm going to decide to choose you. I will break away from these friendships. But then you have to promise me you'll bring me new ones. So that's the deal. Right? I'll break away, but you got to bring new people. That's your deal. Right? I'll detach and bring new people. He said, okay. Yeah. And so we did. I went and I detached from those friends who weren't bad people. They're not making me a saint. I detached from them. I stopped hanging out with them completely. I got more active at the parish. I got more active at church. I was more present. I was there like every single day at this community center. And God brought these new people into my life that actually wanted to make me a saint. Actually wanted to be accountable with me and say, that's wrong, don't do that. And then the next year I moved out of that place. So I can't live with you anymore. I said, this is not a good place for me. I moved in with 4 good Christian men. So much so that even one of them became Catholic. Like, it was transformative. He married a Catholic. They got little Catholic babies. And then his like cousin moved into where I moved out of it. And she met a Catholic. And she became Catholic. And I got Catholic little babies. And it's like this trickle effect, right? Like, when I finally decided to choose Christ, like, it rippled, right? And it changed me. Just that one little priesthood. Bring Christ with you. Because if you do that every day, you will go to bed at night and go, okay, where was the good, where was the bad, where do you change? Where was the lie? So I encourage each one of us, right, to kind of just soak up everything that was said in this last hour. This idea of like spiritual attack. Right? If you hear demeaning voices, if you ever say to yourself, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, that's not God. After we do bad things and we hear that voice in your junk, that's not God. But God says, I'm going to pick you up and I'll love you. So if you hear demeaning voices, that's not God. Reject those. Reject the lies. Talk to somebody else about them. And bring Christ with you everywhere you go. That will transform. I promise. It will. And then lastly, never miss again Mass. Go to confession once a month. And pray every single day for 20 minutes. Everyone should pray for 20 minutes a day. Non-negotiable. Those 3 things, non-negotiable. Mass, confession once a month, and 20 minutes of prayer. Just don't say that again. Non-negotiable. If we want to be authentic Christians, we need to do that. If you're married, you don't talk to your spouse once a week. It'd be crazy. You're really unhealthy. You talk to your spouse every day. And so, 20 minutes of prayer, that's less than 1 television show. We all can find time there. So Mass every week, confession once a month, 20 minutes of prayer. If you don't know how to pray, ask the Father for a book. He will recommend it to you. Right? Ask him to Mass, Father, how do I pray for 20 minutes? He'll teach you. Twice a week. And praise God that in just a moment, we're going to have adoration. We're going to pray. 30 minutes. Just yell that, right? We already got one done today, right? We're going to do that. And during that time, we're going to have confession. Oh my gosh, this is getting better. Right? 2 of the 3 you get done. And if you went to Mass earlier today, so I encourage every single person here today, stay for adoration. 30 minutes. Sit in the silence. If the silence is uncomfortable, good. And when you're in silence, you encounter 2 people. God and yourself. The second person is a little scary. We know that. That's why we don't like silence. Because we get to encounter ourselves and we're like, I don't like that thing about me. Right? That's good. Sit in silence. Like God would want that person. And every single person in this church today should go to confession. Do not leave here without going to confession. Jesus does not want you going home today with that sin on your heart. Right? He doesn't want you to keep accepting that lie. Because when sin overtakes us, we live in the lie. Right? And God wants to destroy that. Jesus Christ rose from the dead and destroyed sin and death. Okay? Bring Jesus with you everywhere you go. Never miss Mass. Pray confession today once a month. Pray 20 minutes a day. God will do radical things. Let's say a prayer. In the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for this time together. Give you thanks and praise for the Holy Spirit speaking. For enlightening each one of us. Let us not be afraid to pick up this challenge, to pick up our cross, to recognize it's difficult, in all honesty, to lead a radical Christian life. Our example is you, Jesus Christ, and you died. So to radically choose you is going to be a death. To radically choose you is going to encounter pain. But you never allow suffering if you cannot perceive and see that with you greatness will come. So Father, we trust you. Any suffering you give us, if we stay close to you, greatness in your glory will endure. So let us not be afraid to be faithful to the Mass, faithful to confession, and to pray every single day. To recognize that only you have that perfect and good love. Ravish our hearts and love us. We ask this all through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now at this time, we are going to have adoration and then confession. I don't know where the confessionals are exactly, so I think Father Jack is going to come down here and